It is said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. The worth behind this pretty face measured in strength and courage, telling the story of a pretty girl from Nyanza who at only 19 was not only divorced from what she says was a terrible marriage, but was also left with 3 young children and nowhere to turn to. Armed only with her high school education then, the then 19-year-old would later tell of how she was forced to transform from this humble girl
we actually harvested under very difficult conditions
to a fierce woman in her quest to find her place in society.
because I was so fatigued and I was running around putting a lot of...
She is now Ambassador Orie Rogo Manduli.
Yes, yeah, you'll catch the sunset. Yes, yes. So,
A husky-voiced, no-nonsense woman who not only wants to lead Trans-Nzoia County come 2012.
With my very natural flair for legislation and interest in legislation, I do very well as a legislator. And therefore, the position of senator suits me to a T. But the woman in Kenya is coming into her own politically.
But who also hopes the Kenyan woman will finally be recognized as an equal and worthy opponent in leadership.
Do I look all right, sweetie boy? Are you sure?
The story of a woman with an infinite touch of femininity on the outside
Now that was a very wise decision for you to fly. It is.
And a layer of resilience and determination on the inside.
You're rolling now, roll on. Your career?
Yes.
Ambassador Orie Rogo Manduli takes me atop a hill that overlooks her expansive farm, 1,000 acres of land at her Tondorie farm in Kitale, land she has lived on for over 35 years. It is here, she tells me,
Who will be the future owners
that her life truly began.
I was driven by the need to own land. In my community, girls don't inherit land, neither are they allowed to own any land, neither do they expect to own any land. And I'd been married at 16 and divorced at that age of 19 with 3 little toddlers. Every year of my marriage I had a baby.
She was an employee of the then metal box company that dealt in metal and especially tin supply when she first heard of the Kitale farm, 1,000 acres that belonged to the then chief of the East African Court of Appeal, retired Justice Benaluta.
So I sent him a telegram. A very rude one back, abusing me. Said, you stupid little girl. What makes you think you stupid little girl, could even aspire or think of owning my farm? It's not possible.
She decided she was not letting the farm go, boldly walking to the then Finance Permanent Secretary and consequent chair of the National Bank of Kenya, Philip Ndegwa, and negotiating for a blank check.
Mr. Ndegwa looked at me and thought I was absolutely out of my rocker. He said, you little girl, how dare you ask me such a thing? You want me to lose my job? I said, no, I just want to buy a farm and I don't have any money. Anybody who was anybody in Western Kenya or in Lohialand was at that auction. I was just a little girl in a miniskirt, reading a newspaper and looking, turning my back to the auctioneer and bidding very quietly, just with my thumb from behind.
That, she says, was when she realized she could do anything she set her mind to.
And I had a farm at 19. Yeah, even when I went to ask for that blank bank check, it was what you call it, was on a, it's something, I mean, absolutely only a 19-year-old girl could do.
Orie Rogo Manduli is a woman famed for scoring many firsts, having been crowned Miss Kenya while still in high school, becoming the very first African woman in Kenya to compete in the World Circuit Safari Rally in 1974, and becoming the first woman to head the Kenya non-governmental organization NGO Council. A woman who many now see as too aggressive, but one who confesses to have worked extra hard, both physically and emotionally, to get there.
Now, 3 daughters later, at age 19, I was thrown out, ostensibly because I had produced daughters. To this man, daughters were not children at all. It's been rough, it's been tough, it's been horrible. I don't want my children ever to go through what I went through. I don't want them to suffer like I suffered. I don't want them I grew up too fast, too quickly. There are years in between I don't know about. I don't know how to be a girl. I still don't know how to be a girl.
Orie Rogo Manduli has been wearing more than just her popular stilettos, her gumboots allowing us to discover Manduli the farmer.
I just harvested a crop of seed wheat here, which I've delivered in the Kenya Seed Company in Nakuru. Now,
And her sneakers, introducing us to the more sporty Manduli. This is her home volleyball team, having just won their regional tournament. Such the many ways she has been able to connect with residents in her home area.
wherever I am a leader. Throw me in the desert and I'll be leading the sand. Yeah, throw me in the water and I'll be leading the fish. Evelyn, actually, I don't want to be the senator. No, I don't. The people just came and said, hey, we want you to come in as our senator. What do you say?
The greatest lesson Orie Rogo Manduli has learned from her experience and hopes to share with women.
Nothing comes from nothing. Nothing ever could. They must dirty their hands. Ukitaka cha uvumbuni, sharti uiname. What is yours is what you sweated for. Not what your father sweated for, what your brother sweated for, what your husband sweated for, what your boyfriend sweated for. Can they stop shaming us, especially those educated girls, parading in court, trying to loot men's pockets? The men don't want to give you, they've worked for it. Why do you want to take what is not yours from them?
2 days since we visited the Tondoria farm in Kitale, and the story we take back with us is not that of a former model who has cut a niche for herself in style and fashion, but that of a woman who hopes people will look past her aggression and see her as that feminine voice, keen to be heard.
Evelyn, you better come here.
But not before we enjoy some meat to crown the holidays from a woman who, in her own words, just does not do things, but does them big. Evelyn Wambui for Newsmakers.